everyone, this is Jason
and Lorraine,
and this is a Sow the Land podcast.
Today's podcast, we will be doing a giveaway for a pair of tickets to the Mother Earth News Fair, and that's right here in Asheville, North Carolina. So stick around throughout the whole podcast. We'll be doing that later on. But for now, we're going to talk about a topic that we get asked quite often, and that is...
How was our transition from the city life to homestead life?
And was it a culture shock for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think if you don't know our story, we lived in Southern California near Los Angeles in a suburban/city area, and we were born and raised in that area without gardening or homesteading. And
yeah, we lived in that. We've never lived anywhere else but that area.
And then we left, 3 years ago, came here to North Carolina, and we've kind of just been full immersion into homesteading life. And was it a shock for us? What was it shocking for you?
I don't know if shocking is the word. I think it's more of, it's definitely different. It was different in a sense that, everything's different. This is so much different than Los Angeles. I mean, unbelievable different.
Yeah, from the people to your environment to the things that you're doing. So let's start with the environment. That's completely different. So in a way that is a culture shock. I know for me, seeing all of this green instead of a concrete jungle, you know what I mean? It's a real jungle, out here in North Carolina. It's so green in the spring and in the summer and a little bit in the fall. And everything is just so alive, from the insects to the trees, and the grass is so lush. And that was shocking. I mean, I feel like that was shocking to me. Yeah,
so much green. The bugs are all up in your face. Everything seemed like it's in 3D here. I mean, compared to Southern California. So, that was definitely. I mean, still, I think we're not used to it. I'm like, wow, look at all this green. We're just driving down the road, and it's like, wow, look at all this green. Or even the bugs. So many bugs, and everything. All the bugs are a little bit bigger here.
Yeah.
And also all the water that we have here.
Yeah, there's a lot of rain too.
Yeah, we're crazy spoiled with water here. And in California, we're definitely not spoiled with water. In a drought, hardly rains, and basically a desert out there. And so to come here, it's just so much different. And but I guess that's kind of why we liked the area also, because it was so much different.
Right, yeah. And it provides so much for raising animals. It makes it so much easier for raising animals. If doing pastured birds over here, there's so much grass and it grows so easily. And for gardening too. We don't have to have a drip system or sprinklers, and we just, our garden just grows out here.
You could, for real, you could literally throw some seeds in the ground
and walk away.
And just walk away, and everything will happen.
Yeah.
I remember when we first moved, I was talking to my neighbor, and he does a big garden every year, and he's like, I don't even water my garden.
And we were shocked.
I was like,
that
what?
was shocking.
I was like, I thought he was just messing with me. Oh, these Californians, we're going to tell them we're never going to wash our garden. And so after we started growing food, and I realized, we, last year, we never watered our garden once.
No.
That's because we got so much rain last year. But even the first year we were here, I think I watered a garden maybe one time. And then, that was it.
Yeah.
It's just mind-blowing to me.
So that was a bit of a culture shock for us, is the environment. I feel like that was it was very different. But what about the people?
The people have been great. I think I think that's the reason I think it's not so much of a shock, because everyone that we've met have been incredibly nice and welcoming, and I think initially before we moved here, I kind of had this vision of people not welcoming us because we are not from this area.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of people that we've met are not from this area.
Right. Other homesteaders, you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
We're, city kids and we wanted to homestead.
Right, but a lot of people are not from this area. Like, very few people that we've met were born and raised here.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty nice, I think, for just to meet people, and like everyone's been really nice about it. For me, it was like in my head, like as I think the first year we were here, I felt like for some reason I felt like somebody was gonna like tell us that we didn't know what we were doing, like we're not supposed to be here.
Uh-huh.
Like I felt like someone was gonna drive up in our driveway and be like, hey, and start yelling at us and be like, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, you can't do that. Like, what do you mean? You guys can't grow food. You guys don't know what you're doing. And I don't know, for some reason I had this in my mind that's what was going to happen. And I felt like that way for a good year. And but slowly through the last couple of years, that began to fade away. That I don't think that anymore. But yeah, for some reason I just thought, like, I don't know why, I just felt like people were gonna yell at us for being here.
Yeah, but it was actually the opposite. Like our
Yeah.
neighbors embraced us with open arms. Like from the moment we pulled up on our property, and they were like, "Here's some eggs from our chickens and some onions from our garden," and it was just like, "Whoa, okay, everyone's so nice."
Oh yeah, definitely. It was right away. Like they saw us coming a mile away.
Almost like they knew we were gonna arrive on that day.
Yeah. It was like we saw these city kids coming a mile away. We're gonna pull up right behind them as soon as they pull up.
Yeah, and then bring them eggs and vegetables from our garden. It was so nice. I feel like all the homesteaders out here that have been doing it longer than us, they were kind of like, hey, we were in your shoes at one point, and here comes some new kids. Let's embrace them. Let's show them what we know, but not in a prideful way. It was just more like, welcome to the community kind of thing. I feel like that's all homesteaders kind of, their attitudes are. Like everyone's just so happy to have more homesteaders. Definitely. Yeah. And so the environment was shocking, was a culture shock for us. And the people, it was different. It was a new lifestyle for us. It was different. But it was easy. It was an easy transition with the people.
Yeah, the people made it easier. I think another thing that was shocking or different was how some of the homesteaders that we met, how they lived.
Right.
Right. Like, we met people living in school buses. We met people living in yurts, living in a converted old tobacco barn.
In tiny houses.
Or
just kind of like off the grid situations.
Yeah, we've met off grid. People live off grid.
People building their own houses out of natural materials, and that was inspiring. Like that was a little bit of a culture shock for us too, because we were like, whoa, that's totally thinking outside the box. That's not, like back where we lived in California, Southern California, it was like you either lived in a house or an apartment or a condo. It was like a real structure that, somebody said this was a real structure. And then we came out here and we were like, oh, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah, like you could live in something else besides just an apartment.
Yeah.
That was definitely shocking. It just was different. Like the way of thinking that way, like I think prior to moving here, when we were looking at different properties, like a lot of these structures did not come to my mind. Like I was like, well, we got to build a house, because that's what I was used to. Like I didn't think of like, whoa, we could live in a school bus, or I didn't think of, all these alternative things. And so after we moved here, then I realized like, wow, okay, so we could have lived in a school bus, or we could have, lived in a tobacco barn. Because people are doing it here.
Yeah.
And like they're super like
proud of their home.
Yeah.
Like, this is my home, and it's
Yeah.
welcoming and it's hospitable and it's totally okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Like they're not ashamed. Like,
No.
yeah, we live in this tobacco barn, and like we are living off grid, and they're, you know, they're having housewarming parties, and you know, like this is something that just we're not used to seeing, and so to be immersed in something like that now, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and you can definitely see the beauty in their art, in wherever they live. Like, their artistic skills come out, and handiwork like carpentry and
Yeah.
you know, metalwork, and you can see that in the building of their own homes. And I noticed that Penelope notices these things. You know, she'll be talking to us and she'll say something like, you know, I'm gonna live on a tiny house on wheels, and you know, and then I can just travel around the country. You know, she'll say things like that, like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of awesome. That, you know, I feel like it's kind of rubbing off on her. Like, she's getting it. She's actually thinking outside the box now too, and
Right.
that's exciting.
Or we could we could bring a shed in and
Yeah.
convert it to a little house.
Yeah.
People do that too, and
Oh yeah.
like I just didn't think of those things at all prior to moving here. Like
Yeah.
those different living structures were not in my mind. Like
Right.
because we never seen it. I don't know anybody who
Right.
lives in those structures, and growing up, and now that we do, I mean, I think it's just an amazing thing to see.
Yeah, and you know what else is another way that we see people thinking outside the box here is how they make their income. A lot of homesteaders, how they make their income.
Right. Yeah, and just these are. I think we talked about this a little bit in previous podcasts, but yeah, they're just kind of doing what they can and just kind of going by the seasons and being super creative and almost like this entrepreneurial spirit.
Oh yeah.
You know, like people start their own businesses. A lot of people have their own little small businesses, and you know, they're maybe selling at the farmers markets or selling online, and I think that's incredible.
It's inspiring.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, because I mean, we have our own small business, so to see other people.
Yeah, especially when we first moved out, we were like, oh man, they just have their own small business and they're just doing it and they're just figuring it out. I was like, well, you know, if they can, you know, we felt inspired to like, okay, maybe we could, you know, maybe it'll be okay. Like we could do this. And so that's pretty neat, just to meet these people and like be friends with them and talk about the stuff that they're doing and bounce ideas off each other, and it's really cool.
I don't know if shock is the right word, because sometimes shock can have this like a bad meaning to it, like we were shocked in a bad way. But right. I feel like coming out here, it was a different experience, and it was a little bit shocking because it was new, but it was like more like we were in awe.
Right.
It was a culture awe.
Yeah. Yeah, like, wow, like, oh man, I didn't think of that. Or like, wow, look at that. You know, it was kind of, we're in awe of everything. And we still are.
We still are.
Like, we're still, it's
3
amazing.
years later, we still are. And I feel like it has been a completely lifestyle change. I mean, for one, we went from city life to homesteading life, but also we went from Southern California to North Carolina. That was all the way across the United States. So there is a little bit of a culture shock.
Yeah.
Here in North Carolina. Like,
I mean, I don't know, things are
different out here.
Seem a little bit slower,
slow-paced life.
Slower paced. Mm-hmm. You know, we're used to like
go. Even people talk fast.
Even here, people just a little bit slower, a little bit like, okay, we'll get to it, you know, and like, so we're used to, you know, like, yeah, go, like I need it now, kind of that mentality. And I still feel like we're very much like that. Mm-hmm. But sometimes if we have to like need help, or we, you know, ask somebody for help, like we're kind of like, okay, they haven't came yet, but
we're waiting.
Let's just be patient about it. And so that's kind of like forcing us to kind of go with the flow and kind of be more patient about things, and not so much like, oh, we need this now. We need to go and be full 100% on something.
That's a way where it's been a little bit different. It's just been a slower lifestyle, which has been enjoyable.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Yeah. I think one thing that was different was some of the accents, some of the local people here.
The southern accent.
Southern accent. I mean, it's not too southern. We're not like in.
Yeah, I can't.
Deep south.
Yeah, I mean, at first, like my neighbor, like I could not understand what he was saying.
We didn't know his name for a long time because we were like, what?
But then after you start talking to him, like you kind of. I guess you kind of get used to the accent.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, another thing that this is kind of funny that you notice is, people say y'all here. Mm-hmm. And instead of y'all, we say you guys.
Yeah.
So, when somebody's not from around here is when they say you guys.
Yeah.
Or they either say you guys or you all. Like, hey, you guys, or hey, y'all. And so that's when you know when somebody's not from around this area, which is kind of funny to like see that,
Yeah, that was.
Because I still say you guys.
I still say you guys, and I feel funny saying it to a group of people who have been here, been in North Carolina for years, or maybe they were born and raised here, and I'm like, do you guys have this, and this? And then I probably should say, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all want to come over?
We probably should start saying that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think another, I know a shock or a difference was when we first moved, Los Angeles area, there's a lot of sports teams in the area. We got the Dodgers, Lakers, there's
the Angels.
There's so many different, there's multiple basketball, professional basketball teams, baseball teams, there's football teams now. And so it's a very sports oriented like area. Mm-hmm. And so when we moved here, there's one, I think, AA team here. I think they're AA. And that's it. Like there's no sports, like a bunch of sports teams here. So, I'm used to everybody, if you walk around Southern California, you see a lot of people just wearing sports teams, like a baseball hat, Dodgers hat or whatever, and or even a jersey. But like here, like you don't see any of that.
I think people just wear the North Carolina Tar Heels or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, there's basketball, but like I see people wear sports teams, but not as much. And so I think that was kind of weird, or not seeing. Okay, I'm used to people wearing like a Dodgers hat. Like it's very rare for me to see somebody wearing a Dodgers hat
here in North Carolina. Yeah.
Like I remember the first time it was like I think it was only like last year. Like it was already we've been here for like a couple of years, and I finally saw this one guy wearing a Dodger hat, and I remember I saw him at a coffee shop, and I like went up to him and I like introduced myself to him, and I'm like, hey man, you're wearing a Dodger hat. Like, wow, like, man, you're the first Dodger hat I've seen in like 2 years. And it was funny. It was just funny. And we just had a conversation a little bit, and we joked around about it. But yeah, it was kind of neat to see somebody with a Dodger hat. But yeah, that's something that it's just different. Because I'm just used to seeing people wearing sports teams, and here there's not really any of that. Someone had asked me, was it a culture shock so much by moving out here? And I think if it was the other way around, mm-hmm. like if we're from this area and moved to Los Angeles, then I think it would be a bigger culture shock, right? Because you got like so many people, the traffic, everything. And I think that would be a culture shock. More so than moving out here, right? Yeah,
I mean, it's different. It was a culture shock for us to move across the country and to change our lifestyle from city lifestyle to homesteading lifestyle. I feel like both were quite a complete life change, and it was like a different life change.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a shock, but for a good part.
Yeah, I think the community here is what we fell in love with when we moved. That's why we moved here, is for the community that's here. And so the community, I think, is what helped us make that transition and not make it so shocking, but make it more welcoming, more helpful. And I think that was the most important thing when we moved here.
Yeah, so if anyone's thinking about making that change from, a city lifestyle to a homesteading lifestyle, it's an easy transition. It's not anything.
I mean, if you have a good community around you, it makes it easy.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's key, the community.
So let's talk about some of the things that we did this week. You're still working on the greenhouse, which has been the saga of the greenhouse.
Yes. We're drawing this greenhouse out. I may be working throughout the whole entire year on this greenhouse. No, but we're almost done, actually.
Yeah, but it wasn't your fault. There was some vents that were ordered and that took a long time.
Yeah, there's some vents that ordered, and it started raining, and these things happen, which is fine. It's not a big deal. We're almost done with it. So yeah, this week I worked on the vents. So now basically what needs to be done is all the trim work on the edges of the greenhouse. I need to build another table.
You've already built one table.
Yes.
And you're updating the progress on YouTube.
Yes, and I'm documenting it on our YouTube channel. And I know Justin Rhodes, he's doing the same on his YouTube channel. I mean, I've only worked on it for maybe 7 or 8 days. So, I don't know. I think that's pretty quick for just being basically by myself.
Right. And considering the size of the greenhouse.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So, and you've done a table as well.
Right. So almost done with it, but we'll get it done. And then another thing that I did this week was I converted one of our older YouTube videos into podcast form. So this is something that I'm going to start doing, along with these podcasts that we do. I'm also going to convert some of our older podcasts, the ones, not all of them, because not all of them I don't think convert well to podcast form because they're very visual. But these are the ones that are more of like me just talking or us just talking into the camera, and something that you don't necessarily need a visual for. And so I think it'd be neat if I just converted some of these to podcast form. So in case you miss those videos, or if you want to, hear those videos again, you could do so, from your car or from your phone. And I think that would bring value to a lot of people out there.
Yeah. And which is the one that you converted?
It was called I Quit My Office Job.
And in that episode, you talk about how you left your corporate 9-to-5 office job and came out here.
Yeah, it was just kind of my thoughts on how I quit. I think it was only like a 7-minute podcast, it ended up being. But yeah, you could, if you want, you could go check out that podcast out at our Sow the Land podcast. What else I do? Oh, I hung out with my friend Tyler. We, what do you call it? Inoculated some mushrooms
on a log.
In logs. First time doing that. This is something both him and I, we've talked about wanting to do this for it's probably been a few years since when I first met him, and so yeah, this definitely became a dream of both of ours to inoculate mushrooms in a log.
And you filmed this.
Yeah, and I filmed it, and we were total newbies at inoculating mushrooms in a log. So it was pretty fun. We're not experts at all, and we basically just kind of did our own little research on it, Googled it, YouTubed it, and just tried to figure it out. And I think it came out pretty good. I think they came out good. I mean, I think we won't really know until a year from now when they start growing the mushrooms on the log.
And what kind of mushrooms were they?
They were shiitake mushrooms.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
So, but yeah, I shot video for that, and hopefully I could post that video out this week.
So how did your digital skills for the homesteader class go?
That went really well. I taught an online class this is a class that I did at the Organic Grower School this year at Mars Hill University. And so I just made that class online so people could purchase it online. And I got a lot of good feedback from it.
That's good.
I think I had over 30 people purchase that class.
Wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, that class is not available anymore. I just had it on for 7 days, and I got some good emails on it. People really enjoyed it, which I'm happy for. I wanted to make it super affordable for people. Like, that's why I only charged $10.
Right. Because I remember when we were first starting a business, and we would watch other like entrepreneurs who were successful, and they offered like classes or workshops on how to grow your business. They were like $3,000 or something. We were like, wait, how can anybody afford this?
Or even $100 was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we just, we're very minimal living, and we wouldn't be able to afford something like that. And so, I don't know, I just offered like $10, if this could help somebody out in some way. It was a total like beginner class on sharing the things you're doing on your homestead or farm. Yeah, I was happy to do it, and people, I think, got some value from it. And hopefully I can, I did it only for a week, but I'm hoping to maybe do that class again in the future. Hopefully maybe this year I'll do it again. And then people are already asking like, hey, can you do like a more advanced class? And so I'm already thinking about that. Maybe I could put something together for a more advanced class on that topic.
Another thing that we shared on one of our YouTube videos during the week was that we're going to be part of a meetup in North Carolina.
Yep.
And it's going to be the same weekend as, I think we also shared this on our last podcast too. It's going to be the same weekend as Mother Earth News Fair. We'll be there at Mother Earth News Fair. Right. And that is the weekend of April 27th, 28th. But the meetup is going to be the Friday, April 26th. And it's from 5 to 7. So if you're in the local Asheville, Fletcher area, it's going to be at Fletcher Park. So it's now called Bill Moore Community Park, but it's in Fletcher, and it was previously called Fletcher Park.
Yeah, and it's right by the Mother Earth News Fair where that's located. And then, so other YouTubers will be there, such as Art and Bree, Justin Rhodes, and Rebecca Rhodes, the Holler Homestead, and the Farm Life Outfitters. And these people have all YouTube channels. They're all our friends, and we all kind of live in the same general area.
Yeah, we're just gonna hang out at a park and get to meet and greet and say hello and get to meet people face to face, which I think it's gonna be so fun to do that. And I think we get a lot of joy out of meeting people that follow us face to face.
I think that'll be fun. I think it goes perfectly with the Mother Earth News Fair being the next day.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of Mother Earth News Fair, we talked about in a previous podcast that, hey, maybe we should get some extra tickets for a giveaway. Well, we did. We have 2 extra tickets for a giveaway.
They sent us tickets.
They sent us tickets. So,
which is amazing.
Yeah. So we are going to give away a pair of tickets to the Mother Earth News Fair, which is in Asheville, North Carolina, and it's going to be the weekend of April 27th through 28th. So if you think that you can make it down here, or if you live nearby, or if you want to fly in or whatever, enter our giveaway. How are we going to do this giveaway?
To enter the giveaway, you need to go to our website at sowtheland.com, and then click the link that says giveaway, and then you type in your email, and then you'll be entered into this ticket giveaway. After you enter the giveaway, we'll pick a winner on April 14th. We'll announce the winner on that podcast for that week. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can also enter This is people that watch us on YouTube and who listen to us on our podcast. So again, to enter, go to our website, click on the link that says giveaway, and enter your email, and then you'll be entered into this 2-ticket giveaway to the Asheville Mother Earth News Fair. And we're going to be at that event also.
We'll be there April 27th, 28th.
Are we going, which day are we going?
We're
Saturday?
going both days.
We're going both days?
We're going both days. And if you don't know about the Mother Earth News Fair, it's this awesome fair that's put on, and it's kind of like a homesteading fair almost. Like, I mean, if you're into gardening, if you're into raising livestock, if you're into workshops on how to butcher an animal, or how to grow something, or how to build something even. I took a class last year on how to build an earth ship.
Oh, okay.
So it's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good community there that goes out to that event. And then, it's from the Mother Earth News Fair magazine. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's another story we could tell. Like, when we've been going to this fair ever since we moved here.
Yeah.
So, like, I remember when we first found out about this fair was, like, right where we're moving. You know, we've always read the magazine before we moved. Oh, look at this, homesteading. Like, here's a homesteading magazine. And we're like, oh, look, they have fairs. And there's no Mother Earth News Fair, like,
in California,
like, or at least in the Los Angeles area.
Right.
There's none of that. So when we moved here, we found out that, hey, there's a fair nearby. Wow. Like, so we went, and it was just amazing experience.
I think it was like 2 days. It was happening 2 days after we had first moved here, and we weren't settled in our house, or our clothes weren't really unpacked or anything, but we went to that fair.
Yeah, we went. And
it was the best time ever.
Yeah, it was awesome, because we're like, man, we've read about this fair for so long, and like the magazine and everything, and so just to actually be at the fair for the first time, it was just magical.
Yeah, it was
like,
great.
It was really great. And so we go to that fair every single year that we've been here after that. Mm-hmm. And each time it's been nice. I mean, we enjoy it.
Yeah, so we're giving away 2 tickets. I hope that a lot of you will enter and tell your friends about it, and just share the link and enter into the giveaway. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I think that about concludes our podcast for this week. We appreciate you guys listening
and watching.
And you can find this podcast on all the iTunes apps, such as iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher apps. And then we are also videoing this podcast so you can watch it on YouTube. And again, if you have questions for us for our future podcasts, give us a message on Instagram, or you could email us at hello.sowtheland@gmail.com, or comment on this video on YouTube. But we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.
Sorry. No, I never, ever, ever in my short-legged life seen a short-legged sailor in a short-legged wife. Okay, do you feel like your brain is sharp now?
Yeah. All right.
Huh? We're just warming up.